All right. Hi, I'm Jason Kadlachuk,
And I'm Michelle Yoshikawa.
and we're your product management team over here at Propel and the host for today's webinar.
All right. We're really excited to show you some of the highlights from our summer release that was released earlier last week. We'll review what went into the release, and then Jason will start off with some exciting new features and enhancements we've made to our core PLM feature set to help users more clearly understand the changes they're reviewing and approving. This will help reduce the time and effort users have to spend analyzing product updates.
And then Michelle will introduce new features such as audit trail and training improvements that enhance our quality management solution. Our new audit trail feature will help regulated customers comply to audit requirements. We've also made a number of enhancements to Propel Setup that I'll be sharing as well. These enhancements help administrators more easily set up and administer Propel and our object model.
So about our summer release, in just 6 short 2-week development sprints, the team completed over 160 JIRA tickets, a third of which were customer-driven enhancements and the rest market-driven innovations.
And it's always our goal to quickly address these customer requests, and we're very excited to showcase some of these new features that we've built in this summer release in this webinar today.
Yeah, plus there were many customer-reported bugs fixed in the spring patches as well as in our summer release.
And several of our largest customers have already deployed an early release build in their sandboxes as part of our pilot program, and many other customers are beginning to upgrade their production environments to our summer release.
So we've got 4 releases planned for this year. Summer is our third, and fall will be our last this calendar year. In summer, we focus on PLM, QMS, and ease of administration. In fall, we'll enhance our product information management offering and our task management solution, plus more PLM features.
So before we go ahead and jump in, this is just a quick reminder to write down any questions you may have in the Q&A section. And we're going to just jump right into the demo here. All right, so in our summer release, we added a couple features to help change approvers more easily understand changes being made to affected items. When there are several related modifications in a top-level assembly being released in the same change, you can view the drafts on the BOM to see what the BOM will look like when the change is released.
We've also added the ability to replace items on a BOM instead of removing one item and adding another. This has 2 benefits. First, the assembly data is preserved, so you're less likely to make a mistake with the quantities or reference designators. And second, the red lines are displayed together to more clearly portray the intent of the change.
Okay, so here's this change that is being used to address some customer issues with a battery for our device. What I'm going to do here is drill into this top-level assembly here so we can get an idea of what the BOM looks like right now. Select the BOM tab. I'm going to select a little bit better of a view here so we can see this clearly. So here you can see we've added this extreme battery pack for rough environments. We've also upgraded to a new motherboard in this subassembly. If I look at the top-level assembly, I can get a better picture of how this will affect the entire structure of the BOM. So I'm going to show you this. So from this view, I currently see the BOM with its latest released revisions. So notice the motherboard here and its parent are currently at Rev B and D respectively. I'm currently viewing the BOM as though the subassemblies will not be affected by this change. I'm only viewing released children revisions. However, in this drop-down, I can choose to see other drafts on this change and see how it affects this BOM structure should it be released all at the same time. So you'll notice here that this part was at Rev D, but once this change is processed and the affected items are released, Rev E will be in the BOM of this revision. You'll also notice that motherboard has been replaced and will be released in this change as well. Notice revision A here. This feature is useful in that now I can see what my BOM is going to look like once this change is processed.
Yeah, this feature is also available on the BOM tab on the item page as well as right here in the affected item modal.
Okay. So I'm going to go into edit mode here real quickly on this change so we can show you another useful feature that we're excited to show you, which is the ability to replace items on a BOM. I'll show you how this works on this assembly here. So let's just say I want to replace the packaging with a different packaging here. I would simply select the item, click replace, and I'm going to search for packaging here, select it, and hit replace. Now when I press replace, this will swap the part, but it will preserve the values for assembly fields like quantity, find number, reference designator, and notes, amongst others. So this is really useful when swapping replacement parts with similar attributes so that you don't have to re-enter data.
Right. So previously, to replace a part, you had to remove an item and then add the new replacement item, which made it hard to track which item was replaced with which. And now you can see the replacement coupled together with the old part, making the meaning and the intent of the change more clear.
I'll pause for questions real quick here if anyone has any questions about these two features.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, there's a Q&A section there, and you can type any questions in there. But no questions right now.
Okay, so now Michelle's going to show you how you can quickly notify your approvers that you've made these changes and that the change order is now ready to be looked at.
So I'm going to switch to a different change here. We've added now the ability to send an ad hoc email for change, quality, and item.
We expect this will be particularly helpful when you want to expedite a change. It provides a way to remind the approvers to review and approve.
So this particular change has two approval phases, the preliminary review and the CCB. And each of the phases has two approvers. So preliminary review and CCB has this control board. When I select this new feature up here called send email, there are two links here, and I can add the approvers from the current phase. So the change is currently in the preliminary review phase, and I can add the approvers from that current phase, or add the approvers from all the phases, all the change phases. And then I can also at this time ad hoc add or remove users or groups as recipients. So maybe I don't need to contact Laura, but I want to add the quality analyst group and maybe myself. So I can write my message in here, expedite, please review this change ASAP. And the email will include a link directly back to that change, quality, or item. You can also optionally post in Chatter, which will @mention each of the email recipients. So I can send that. So another request we've heard is for cycle time reports. So once you've started processing a number of changes, you're working with this new sending the email to expedite some, you might want to have some metrics for how long it takes, and maybe compare how long it used to take before you had Propel in place. So we've got some new cycle time reports, and let me come to this one called the cycle time webinar report. We're now capturing the data to generate these reports, like the phase entry and exit times and the duration in the phase. So Grant Bremer from our customer success team hosted a great reporting webinar on July 10th. And in case you missed it or want to refer back to it, the replay is available in our help center. So he demonstrated building this cycle time report and dashboard, and you can customize this to answer your life cycle duration questions. So I was able to make some small changes here to get some slightly different information. So here he's got it kind of grouped by both the status, so this takes into account all the changes, and by the change number and the change phase name. What I did in this other report, an ECO cycle time report, where I have just these 5 phases, I limited them down. I removed the grouping for the group rows for status, so instead filtering on those changes just in incorporated status, and also for change phase name, and instead added that as a detail column. And then I added a formula field for average time to process the change. So this one, what it does is it takes the sum of the durations of all the phases, dividing by 60 to give you the hours instead of the minutes, and then divided by the row count, the total rows divided by 5, because there's 5 phases in here. So then what this tells me, when I come to the average time to process a change, I can see that this change took almost a whole day. This one took about 2 days. This one took close to 3 days, etc. And then when you add them all up and you average them out, then it's taking almost 89 hours. So that's over 3 days. Yeah. Let's see. I guess that's, do we want to pause for some questions? We do have one. Oh, if I have multiple suppliers, will they be able to see each other? This was in relation to the sending? Or?
Yes, sending messages.
So when you, well, the emails are sent individually. Oh, I see what you're saying. I think the emails are sent to each person as like a group email, not individual emails. So you may see those.
We have another question here. So how can you get this cycle time report in your environment?
I think if you, I guess the best way is going to be to watch the replay of the reporting webinar for the step-by-step instructions on how to create this. And the webinar is posted in our knowledge base under video tutorials. Let's see. So another reporting feature that we added in summer was to enhance our quality management system offering, and it's a comprehensive quality audit trail. So here's an example of the thing. So this is to satisfy regulatory audit requirements. So we have now a complete audit trail for all field updates and modifications to affected items, attachments, etc., in both quality and changes.
So this will allow you to track changes for all your fields rather than be limited to the 60 field maximum for Salesforce's history tracking, and to retain the data beyond Salesforce's 18-month history retention policy.
Right, so the new audit trail information is reportable using the quality audit trail with quality or change audit trail with change report type. So you would go under reports, you'd say new, and you'd choose one of those 2 report types to build out a report. In this example, I've just grouped by the quality object itself, and then I want to show the who did what, so to what field, what were the changes, and when.
Okay, so we have another question here. So the question's about what other objects is Audit Trail available with?
Right, so in summer we released to Audit Trail for quality and changes. We'll continue to build out more Audit Trail data in subsequent releases. So you want to look for items and training plans in our fall release, and then feel free to add your requests to help us prioritize like what other objects are of interest.
Okay.
Right. So another question is, does this audit trail, does it include training? So training plans will be done in our fall release.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's it. Then we want to go to the training plans. So also in our quality management system, we made a number of improvements in our training offering in summer.
Yeah, we added a few new features that will help larger organizations manage plans more efficiently.
So those efficiency features include, one, we automated the training assignment generation. So you'll create the training plan in pending status, add the training items and trainees, and then when you set the status to active, the training assignments are automatically generated and the trainees are notified of their assignments. Then number two, we've added the ability to set a public group as a trainee. So rather than manage trainees user by user, this works, this way I can add the public group and it automatically would create the assignments for all the users in that group. So this will work in conjunction with the new admin setting to maintain group membership changes. So that way when new training assignments are automatically created when you add members to the group, and open assignments are obsoleted when you remove members from that group. And it doesn't happen like right away, it happens on a nightly job. And then number three, as a training plan owner or trainee supervisor, you can now sign off in bulk on behalf of those trainees. So before you could do it, but one by one. So now, for example, if you have an in-person training session, rather than sign off one by one, you check all the training open assignments for the trainees who attended and then sign off in bulk. Let me come over to the training plans area here, and I'm just going to create a new training plan, and I'll just call it my demo training plan. And it starts off in status pending, and then the days to complete is now a required field. So for existing customers who are using our training plan feature before, then they, if any of those had been left blank in the past, we've set them now to 14 days. And here I might just say this needs to be done in 14 days. This plan will require an annual refresh, so I'll check the retraining and set the retraining date at the start of our fiscal year here. So there, and say it needs to be refreshed every year. So I'm going to create this new plan. And right now there's no training items or trainees or training assignments, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a training item. This is the item to train on. So I have this certain policy that I want people to train on. I can add another item or not. And then I can add my trainees. And as a trainee, you can see now you have a choice to either do a user or a group name. And in this case, I'll add the quality analyst group and spelling count. So hopefully I got that right. And now once I activate this plan, what happens is all the assignments are automatically generated and the trainees will get notified. So I'm going to set the status here to active and click save. Let me refresh. Now in this example, there are only two users in that quality analyst group, but by making it active, it's automatically generated these new open assignments for the two users in that group to read and sign off on the one item, training item. Now, if I continue to add either trainees or training items to this while it's active, then the new training assignments will also get created. So I can add another training item here. And this will be order 2. And the training item was created, and when I refresh this, I'll see that those new training records were also created for those users. So then let's say that we've attended a group training on both items, and I can check the users who were in attendance and sign off for them in bulk rather than clicking one by one. I can check all of them and click sign, and it says who I'm signing off for, and that this is my electronic signature acknowledging that it's been comprehended. So now those are all completed assignments. So some customers have said that they want for the trainee to always sign off for him or herself. And we now have a new admin setting over here. So if I come to Propel Setup, Admin Settings, Training Records, we have this allow surrogate user to sign off on behalf of trainees. And it's enabled by default to preserve the existing behavior, but can be disabled for those of you who want the trainee to sign off on it.
Now, remember, if you want to use public groups as trainees, enable the new admin setting to maintain group membership changes. That way, the training assignments will be kept up to date as you add and remove members from the group. I'm going to pause real quick for questions here.
Yes, so the one question is, does this replace the ad hoc reassign for training? So yes, so there is still an assign button available, but that's more for if you want to in bulk change the due date. But now there's not really a need to click that ever anymore. On mass sign, why didn't pass? Oh, so there is another setting also called signature required on sign off here on under, and because that's off, it's disabled in this organization. That's why it didn't come up to ask for a password. And then both the training plan owner and the trainee supervisor are able to sign off for others, and not just an admin. It's not related to being an admin. All right. And another question, when you edit the training plan details, does it still move it back to the pending status? So no, it no longer moves it back to pending status. So you would, if you want to, that might be in a process where you would choose to move it to pending, get all the trainees and items aligned, and then move it back to active, which would create the needed assignments. All right, I think that's all for the moment, and let me go ahead and.
Okay. So we've been listening to our Propel administrators, and in our summer release, we've made a number of enhancements to make administrating Propel easier and less time-consuming. Many of these enhancements have been made in Propel Setup, allowing admins to quickly create and configure new categories and auto numbers. Additionally, system administrators can now create custom item revision fields directly from our item page. So I'm going to go through a quick demo of this new admin functionality. First, I'm going to go to we're in Propel Setup admin settings right now. I'm going to go to our items settings. And the first thing I want to point out here is this new category viewer where you can easily visualize category hierarchies. This is useful to help understand how categories are related and whether fields are inherited from parent categories. So previously, to create a category, you had to go to the category tab and then another separate tab to create an auto number. In Propel Setup, we've consolidated these two objects as well as many other category-specific settings in one convenient place. And we're continuing to work towards enabling admins to be able to manage all essential Propel configurations within this Propel Setup page. So I'm going to show you how you can quickly create multiple categories and auto numbers from this new interface. So for this example, I'm just going to create a category called Fastener, and I'm going to tie it to a parent here, parent category. and assign it to a life cycle. And also simply create a new auto number here with a prefix of here, and click, no. Okay, so it successfully created this first category here. So I'm gonna hit create again. And you can also use this create a new capability if you're creating multiple successive categories. So then I'm gonna create screw, and I'm gonna say the parent is that fastener I just created. Simply fill out all this, and I'm just gonna use the existing auto number for this example. Oh, looks like I have a few of these I've accidentally created here. And then I'll create another category. So I just created that other category, the screw category. Now I'm going to create the next one here. So I'll choose this as the parent again. And I'm going to use that existing fastener auto number. So I'll hit create. So now if I scroll down here, you'll see that I've just created 3 nested categories here, fastener being the parent. So note that categories with a parent inherit their parent's category specific fields, which you could see here, if there aren't any on here right now. But if you did have them, you'd see them here. So another new feature in this summer release is the ability to manage category-specific fields in Propel Setup. So let's say I go to this category resistor here. I can scroll down to this category-specific fields card here, and I'll see this field resistance. Let's say I just want to exclude it, or I want to exclude it from the create new page. So I'll just hit edit, check this box, and save. So in addition to editing these category-specific fields, I can also create new ones right from this interface as well by hitting this new button here. Another new feature we've introduced in this summer release is the ability to create a new tab for related lists. So this tab would show up, of course, on like the item page once it's created. So say I want to include a related list of cases where this component was an assembly that was impacted. I could simply create a new tab called cases and then add my related list to it. So here I click create, and I'll select this related list and click create, and you'll see it appears right here. Now I can just easily drag it over here to display it in the left-hand panel of the item page. So then I'll just hit save. And I think this tab will actually apply to all of my categories. So I'm going to click this apply to other categories button, and I'm just going to select all for now. Okay, so that would apply this tab configuration to all pages, or to all categories, so item categories here. So I want to show you guys this new tab that I just created. So I'm going to navigate to an item here. And I will click on this specific item, and you'll see this new cases tab appear. Now there's no related cases right now because I haven't added any, but if you do, they would show up right here in this related list. And you can create any number of custom tabs to hold your related lists in. So this sums up the new features we built in that Propel setup page to help admins configure objects quicker.
Let's see if there's any questions. Let's see, there's one. Yeah, so are these same capabilities in Propel admin available for changes and qualities?
Yeah, so you'll be able to edit category details, auto numbers, category specific fields, and tab configurations for items, changes, and qualities in the summer release.
Great.
So for adding new fields for items, if you're talking about the category specific items from Propel setup, you'd have to add them. There's no like table view to add multiple at the exact same time, but you can add one new one and do create a new and keep repeating that process essentially. But there's no like bulk create new fields. Okay, so we've also been working on improvements to make adding custom item revision fields easier. So in the summer release, we've introduced the ability to add custom item revision fields directly from the item page. So this will save admins a significant amount of time and reduce complexity, as you can now create fields and add them to the appropriate permission set and page layout from one convenient place. So previously, administrators will, you know about the Zendesk help articles that had like 5 different steps, 5 tedious steps really. We've condensed this to just a few easy steps with this new feature. So on this item here, if I scroll down, I will see this new create custom fields button. So only system admins will actually be able to see this button. So I'll click create. And in our summer release, you can choose from 4 different field types to create. So there's text, text area, number, and pick list. I'm going to select number for our new field here. Now, because we're on a capacitor, I'm going to name this capacitance. And I'm going to associate it with this specific category. So what you can either choose to make the field category specific or add the new field to all categories. So if I left this category specific field checkbox unchecked, it would add it to every single item category. So I'm going to hit next. So here we list the permission sets. So currently we filter down all permission sets in the environment by keying into the word Propel. You'll generally want to add the new custom fields to the Propel custom fields field set, read-only or full use, which our implementation team would have set up for you already. So I'm going to choose Edit Access on this Propel full use custom fields permission set and hit Save. And here you can see the new field was added to the bottom of the page layout here.
That's really cool. It saves tons of steps.
Yeah. So like we said, to add category-specific fields is about 5 tedious steps before this, and we've condensed it down into one dialogue here. All right, we're going to pause for questions here.
Let's see. Are you planning to add more field types?
Yeah, we're planning to add more field types in the future. We'd like to hear from you as to having which field types available would help you best.
Yeah, so definitely you could put that into the Q&A area as well, or contact our support people to see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Can I add custom fields to changes and qualities the same way?
Not yet, but we'll be rolling out that capability in a future release.
And can all users see that create custom field button on that item page?
No, so only system admins will be able to see the button and actually have the ability to create custom fields.
And here's one. How would you apply a new custom field to another item revision? This with the new custom field that Jayson just added, he specifically said to do it for all capacitor category items of the category capacitor, but you could also do it for have selected other categories as well. I'm not sure if that's exactly answers it.
You can apply it to multiple other categories as well to make it category specific for those. Okay. All right, so that about sums up our demo here.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. The replay of this webinar is going to be posted in our Help Center, and you can access our Help Center at help.propelplm.com. We're constantly adding new knowledge-based articles and videos.
We've also added some helpful documentation for system administrators. You can find this curated list of help resources in our knowledge base under the Propel Administrator Training section.
So there's a new one right here, plus lots of new articles always being added in here. And then you would look for grants, reports, and dashboard training down here under video tutorials. And this webinar will be down here under webinars, posted afterwards. And we also have our summer release notes available. The other great place to visit is our new community area. And so the community portal, you can suggest enhancements and feature requests. You can see different updates, vote up different ideas, and share your use cases, and also see some troubleshooting tips and tricks.
Okay. So are there any final questions here?
Let's see. Are there plans to change quality sharing? Currently, it can only be done in Classic. Oh yeah, I think we did oh yeah. So in Lightning, is it in fall? I forget. It might possibly be in summer. We added the sharing button there. We'll have to look. I think let me follow up on that after.
Yes, but there are plans to, enhance sharing in Lightning.
Yes.
If it hasn't already been implemented.
Right, it's possible it made it. So
one more, is there, sorry. Is there a way to set up multiple views on the same BOM? So if you're referring to different BOM views where you can adjust the fields that you see, then yes, there's a custom BOM view feature that we have. And there is some information in our knowledge base about that. Yes. And how to configure it.
And one thing that's new in summer is we've added a new custom permission for who can share the BOM views. So anybody can create your own personal ones, but then you have to share them with others. You would have to have this permission.
Yeah.
So I think those are the main questions. I guess our last one is when can I get Summer? So Summer's available now. You would email support@propelplm.com to get in that first wave of upgrades, or even actually the second wave at this point, because we've already had several upgraded. We plan to finish all the upgrades in August.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to your feedback on our summer release, and please reach out to us if you're interested in participating in our pilot program.
Great. Thanks. If we didn't get to your questions, we'll try and answer them offline then. Thank you very much.